Coping with stress. Stress is a necessity. In other words, without stress, nobody will achieve things. Goals are ensured to be made by stress. When you have some stress, you are able to move on towards your goal and to get it right. However, stress becomes counterproductive when it continues unstopped, and it will then generate more problems, and which can affect the way the hormones of our bodies work and then produce diseases. Today, I'm welcoming you to listening to me talk about stress and how you can cope with it. Let's go on. Deadlines, bill payments, relationships, illnesses, and so many other things crowd us out. Our ability to cope with this and our inability of it will produce stress. A little bit of meeting deadlines will make us want to get through, to get it right at all times, thereby succeeding. But again, sometimes these are too much to be borne by one person, and sometimes people can't cope. It is important to learn how to cope with these. How does stress affect our body? Our bodies rather. Your body is wired in a very complex relationship in what is described as psychosomatic. In other words, psycho meaning the brain, and then the somatic means the body. The brain receives the stress event and then passes it, for example, to the heart. And when that happens, the heart will then become fast. And of course, if that becomes uncontrolled and it continues persistently for over a long time, then high blood pressure results. This is just one aspect that describes what stress can do to your body. Now, what stress management can help you achieve will be two things. One, eliminate the stress factor. In other words, if the factor is one that does not need to, or you can live without, then you will eliminate it. For example, if you can have a job that is different from the one that is causing you a lot of stress, obviously that can be done away with. However, if the stress is about paying your bill and you have got to meet that demand, you can't live without a house, for example. So you need to just get a solution on how to cope or adapt with that stress in what is known as resilience. Right, so don't wait till stress damages your health or relationships and quality of life before you look for help. A lot of people like to keep bearing it until they break down and hit the ground. It is not healthy. Learn to identify the stress event early so that you can actually seek help. That way, you're more likely to enjoy a good quality of life. So there are strategies. We have a look at 4 of them. First of all, you try to identify the trigger factors. Knowing a problem is as important as the first step towards finding a solution for it. So if you can recognize those factors that trigger your stress, please go for it. We will talk about that a bit later. Think about strategies to deal with triggers. In other words, you find the trigger, what strategies do you have in place? If you don't, of course, you talk with other people. If you cannot figure out these stress factors, seek help or support from family and friends. That is definite. Somebody somewhere will be able to identify those factors for you. What practices are there to help you cope with these stress factors? There are many, but I just reduced them to about 7. You may not completely agree with all of these, but I believe you can give a try to at least one of them and see whether it helps or not. Try deep breaths. Just take fresh air out there. Deep breath in and out. Slowly breathe with the mouth closed and breathe out slowly, gently, over about 15 seconds, opening your mouth. Try that 10 times and let us know your effect. Definitely, if you are as intelligent as I believe you are, take your pulse reading and see how fast it is before you do the breathing, and take your pulse reading at the end of this exercise, and I bet you will notice that your pulse will go down. In other words, your pulse will be less fast. Brilliant. That would be evidence that you have actually achieved something. Meditation. Of course, there are many ways by which you can meditate. Mindfulness, or just meditating using a very simple prayer kind of sensation time period of meditating. Think slowly and gently, and that can help you. Massage. A lot of theories behind this, but just try some kind of massage. Somebody can do this for you. You're around your neck, around your face. It tends to relax some tense muscle groups, and that can cause you relaxation. Some people have used dancing and music or listening to music as a very effective tool. Honestly, music is a timeless tool in coping with stress. I have my testimony to share concerning this. I was passing through a tough time and was listening to some kind of motivational music, which did a lot of healing to my heart. And music has done a lot of historic healing to many stressed people. That is something to think about. Watch a comedy. I did share in some social media about the story of Norman Cousins, who was having a condition known as ankylosing spondylitis. It's a very terrible degenerative bone problem, and he could not sleep for many nights. And he then decided to check himself into a hotel and was listening to comedy. And he just laughed himself out until he slept very well, something that the most effective painkillers could not give him. He was able to sleep, and he realized, he called it anatomy of an illness, how laughter cured him of a disease that medicine could not. So comedy is an effective tool to cope with stress. Eat a healthy diet and exercise regularly. Obviously, I believe the sweat is very effective tool. Is when you exercise to the point of sweating and letting out those excess fat from your system, it does a lot of good. It distresses you, gives you a lot of energy, releases endorphins that gives you some kind of pseudo euphoric abilities, and you forget about the stress factors. One thing, especially in our generation, never to forget is to get enough sleep. When you go to bed, think nothing but sleep. Keep your phone far away from you. Spend less time in front of a screen and sleep. There is no end to the problems of this world. There is no end to the rumors existing on social media. You must not catch every glimpse of every post. It is always going to be there. New ones will be there when you're no longer there. So go to bed and sleep. You will distress yourself that way. That is the 7th point. The fact is, stress will not disappear from your life. If somebody tells you you're going to have no stress, they're lying to you. Stress is one of the factors that we live in. Pay attention to what causes it for you and practice ways to relax or cope with it, depending on how important that stress factor is. In conclusion, We have identified the fact that everyone gets stressed. There is a need to relax and distress for everyone. There are several techniques that exist which can distress us. Select one or two and keep practicing it. Whichever one that is effective for you, go for it. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you and or subscribing to my channel so that we can support each other in bringing these kinds of information to many who will like to receive help whenever they are confronted with situations of health or of this nature. Thank you very much, and I look forward to welcoming you again to my channel.